imagine a witch flying around in that
I was
music?
thinking if you weren't fully awake, you are now.
Yeah, really. Yeah, no doubt. Well, a lot of kids going to be trick-or-treating tonight, as I said earlier.
Right.
I think tonight's probably going to be the better night of the two because rain is moving in. For today, though, if you happen to be traveling and you want to travel into some rainy weather, well, then head south. That's where it's been the past day or two, and that's where it's going to stay mostly today, especially eastern sections of Missouri, southern Illinois on into Indiana. If you head north, you will run into sunshine. Out to the west, more clouds and eventually more showers, and temperatures staying about even throughout the heartland, upper 40s to lower 50s. For bus stop weather this morning, it looks dry, but it will be cool, not necessarily as cold as it was yesterday, 32 to 36 with an east wind, 5 to 15 miles per hour. That will make it feel even chillier out there, so you will need the coats most definitely.
Well, without further ado, let's take a look at today's potential Breakfast Club winners. Arlene Whitmore of Albion and Jody Carlson of Slater. You not only will win yourself 2 free breakfasts to Country Kitchen, but also a Channel 5 coffee mug.
Arlene and Jody to claim not only the breakfast, but the coffee mugs. 1-800-858-5555 is the number to call us right after the newscast. That's 1-800-858-5555. Good luck. Oh, there's the address, too, if you'd like to enter. You can send your name and address to the Breakfast Club. Put it on a postcard, P.O. Box 724, Des Moines, 50303.
And we pick 2 winners every single day of the week. Still ahead, we'll get your opening farm market prices, and a little later on, we'll tell you how you can get rid of some of those holiday tensions. Stay with us.
In 12 years, Charles Grassley and his staff cost us $12 million. And we got these 12 laws for our money. It's no wonder he's spending millions to spread all those vicious lies about Gene Lloyd Jones. He can't get the job done in Washington. He may brag about his attendance record, but watch out, he's failing Iowa.
In 1939, America was going back to work and working up a healthy appetite. To satisfy that appetite, Country Kitchen was serving plenty of great-tasting food, the same as they do today.
Stop in anytime and enjoy your favorite from over 17 different entrees on our Farm Fresh breakfast menu.
Now, if we could just find a way to get away from work.
Yesterday and today, Country Kitchen.
Why is Jim Ross Lightfoot trying to distort Elaine Baxter's record? Lightfoot supported millions in foreign aid while voting to cut millions for Iowa public schools. He voted against requiring corporations to tell us about toxic wastes in our own communities. Elaine Baxter voted to strengthen Iowa schools and help create thousands of new Iowa jobs through export promotion. And Elaine Baxter supports our right to know about toxics. Elaine Baxter, the choice is clear.
In business news this Friday, General Motors lost less money than it said it would for the second quarter of the year, but it still was a large, rather bitter pill to swallow anyway. Stephen Ogg has details.
Good morning. General Motors, the world's biggest automobile maker, says it lost nearly $753 million during the summer, virtually all the loss coming from North America. GM's still making money overseas. GM is the last of the big 3 to report third quarter results. Ford lost $159 million. They made money in North America because they spent years slimming down and cutting costs, which GM has yet to do. Ford, though, is losing money overseas. Ironically, Chrysler was the only one of the big 3 to report a profit. A year ago, Chrysler was fighting for its very existence. On Wall Street, some disappointing earnings reports helped send blue chip stocks lower yesterday. The Dow fell about 5 points in heavy trading. Senators, unions, and the government's Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation have reached agreement that clears the way for Trans World Airlines to come out of bankruptcy. Under the agreement, TWA's pension plan, which has only about half the money it needs, will be terminated before the company's reorganized. At that point, the pension agency will pursue the airline's current owner, Carl Icahn, and try to collect as much of the pension plan's $1.2 billion shortfall as it can from him and his other companies. No doubt hoping Icahn will not say, "I can't." That's the economy this morning.
And now let's get this morning's farm market numbers. Here's market news specialist Doug Cooper.
Hogs in Iowa yesterday, a half to $1 lower, 41 to 43. A few in the plants, 43.50 for an extreme top. Increased movement all week put pressure on prices and couple that with lower pork values. Hog slaughter, 366,000, bringing the weekly total to $1,429,000. 4% more than the same period a week earlier, up 5% from the same period last year. No sales, not established a trend for cattle in Iowa yesterday. Slow trade and demand as a result of that. Lower box beef values also noted yesterday. Cattle slaughter 125,000, weekly total 495,000. That's 1% more than the same period a week ago, up 7% from last year. Cash corn in Iowa, 1 to 2 cents higher, $1.77 to $1.90. Now, harvest pressure does continue, but that was offset by rather light farmer selling activity and support from technical trade at the Chicago Board of Trade. Soybeans 2 to 5 cents higher, $5.11 to $5.18. Beans are experiencing pretty good export demand right now, and light country movement moved prices higher. From the Iowa State University Extension Market News Department, I'm Doug Cooper.
Coming up after the break, we'll take one last look at your Friday and weekend 5cast.
And wondering what to do with that pumpkin after Halloween? One California radio station has a suggestion. Stay with us.
How do you recognize a truly superior banana?
Just look for this famous portrait.
Key to bananas every day at Food Saver. Last year, over 50,000 women found families to adopt their unexpected children.
We have a daughter.
They decided instead of abortion to bring their babies into the world. They held to their belief that nothing is more precious than human life. To all these mothers, the families who adopted these children would like to say, thank you, life. What a beautiful choice.
Equality, an interesting word. Some people want me to pay more for my car insurance and life insurance, the same high rates that men pay. I cannot afford that kind of equality. The same people say I should have the right to marry a woman and my brother the right to marry a man. Equality? You've got to be kidding. This peculiar kind of equality is called ERA. They even threaten to take away my dad's veterans benefits because he's a man. If they pass the ERA in Iowa, these people will push for a national ERA to force women to go into military combat. That's some equality. Equal pay for equal work and equal opportunity. That's already the law in Iowa. But ERA is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't want that kind of equality because I already have real equality, and I won't let them take away our freedoms. On November 3rd, vote no on ERA.
Taking another look at this morning's top stories, women and men joined forces last night to fight domestic violence. Survivors of abuse held a candlelight vigil to take back the night. Attorney General Bonnie Campbell attended the service. She says she's doing what she can to make the problem of domestic abuse a national issue. Campbell's trying to toughen laws against abusers. President Bush and Bill Clinton squared off with Sam Donaldson in a couple of lively interviews on last night's Primetime Live. The president defended his economic plan and applauded what he saw as signs of improvement in the economy. Clinton, meanwhile, vigorously responded to questions about abortion and his economic plan. Ross Perot spent the evening appearing on Larry King Live. In the Midwest, Governor Clinton seems to have a somewhat comfortable lead. A University of Iowa poll shows 44% of the voters back him, while 35% favor President Bush. Ross Perot has 21%. The poll was taken in the 7-state Midwestern region. Right now, let's check back with Rick Mitchell for a last look at the 5cast.
Well, a cool morning taking shape with a partly cloudy sky in central Iowa. Temperature in Des Moines right now is 35. And it's 34 at Ames. Very similar weather situation to what we had yesterday with sunshine to our north, clouds and rain to the south. We'll be kind of right in the middle, so a little mix of both clouds and sun, and by late in the day, maybe even a few sprinkles. And yes, it's going to stay cool with highs in the 40s. For Des Moines, the specific 5cast calls for clouds and sunshine and late day sprinkles, a high of 48 with an east wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, cloudy, a chance for some rain, a low of 39. And tomorrow, a better chance for rain, a high of 51 degrees, and that chance for rain, unfortunately, will continue Sunday, 48 to 52. Still some leftover showers on Monday. Again, temperatures staying in the upper 40s to lower 50s.
Okay, thanks, Rick. Well, it won't be long before we're caught up in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, and we all know how stressful that can be. One California radio station is helping folks stop the stress before it starts. It encouraged listeners to vent their frustrations by tossing pumpkins. Now, this just wasn't any pumpkin toss. Folks climbed all the way to the top of an 8-story building and did their best to hit a painted bullseye on the parking lot below. Not an easy task, but some did manage to hit the target. I'll bet everyone felt a little better.
Looks kind of fun.
It does. That's our news for now. We'll see you back here at 11:30 on the Midday Report.
Have a good morning. We'll see you later.
As a congressman, Jim Ross Lightfoot has dropped 1.4 million pieces of junk mail on Iowa. We need Elaine Baxter, a new leader in Congress, on our side.
I'm Jean Lloyd Jones. I don't have a taxpayer-financed publicity machine to get the message out, but I do have a plan for universal health care to stop the squeeze on Iowa's families. I'll cut the military to invest in good jobs here at home. I'll fight for choice and the Equal Rights Amendment. And I'll pull the plug on the special interests in Washington because I didn't use their money to get elected. All I ask in return is the one thing a publicity machine can't buy: your vote.
You're watching Channel 5, Ames, Des Moines.
In the top of the news this morning, 4 days left to campaign. It's getting kind of rough out there. President Bush stepping up his attacks. He calls Clinton and Gore bozos.
What?
And Governor Clinton fights back. He says Bush is guilty of fear-mongering now, and Clinton calls himself an underdog. And then there is Ross Perot. He goes on television with a prediction of what you'll be saying to yourself first thing Wednesday morning. Yes.
From ABC News, this is World News This Morning for Friday, October 30th, 1992. Now, from our world headquarters in New York, Mike Schneider.
And a good morning to you. The candidates are kind of rounding the corner at this point, heading into the final weekend of the presidential campaign. And as you're about to see, they're going to be all over the map. President Bush will be focusing on these 6 states. The farthest west he will go is to St. Louis, Missouri. Governor Clinton, he'll be in some of the same states, but he'll also be in 2 other important states to him, Ohio and Pennsylvania, over the weekend. Ross Perot hitting the road once again. He has rallies set up now in Florida, Missouri, California, and also, we're told, he'll be visiting Kansas City, Missouri as well. One place, by the way, we could find all 3 candidates was television last night. Perot was back on Larry King Live. We'll have more on that in a moment. Sam Donaldson did separate interviews with President Bush and with Governor Clinton on ABC's Prime Time. President Bush continued to attack Clinton on the issues of taxes and character, but his approach on TV was less harsh than it was yesterday out there on the campaign trail.
The only way they can win is to tell everybody everything ain't worth a darn. They criticize our country and say we are less than Germany and slightly better than Sri Lanka. My dog Millie knows more about foreign affairs than these 2 bozos.
Bill Clinton says he has always seen himself as an underdog in the presidential race, and Clinton is fighting back now against the president's attacks, challenging the president on the same grounds as Mr. Bush is challenging him. Last night, Clinton headed into the teeth of a controversial issue. He repeated his promise to appoint a national AIDS czar. ABC's Ron Claiborne has that report.
Governor Clinton traveled to New Jersey's Hudson County, which has one of the nation's highest AIDS rates, to redeem a campaign promise to deliver a major speech on AIDS.
We have still not done enough as a nation to stop the spread of AIDS or to help those who are living with it.
Clinton said he would appoint an AIDS czar to coordinate all federal efforts against the disease and would increase funding for AIDS research, treatment, and education.
A direct and honest campaign that will reach into every community that needs it, and especially into our schools where our children are. They need to know that what they don't know can hurt them and can kill them.
None of Clinton's proposals was new, and the speech took place at night, assuring minimal coverage on evening news programs. Still taking on a subject that is controversial to many voters, did involve some political risk. Earlier in the day, Clinton campaigned in the key battleground states of Ohio and Michigan, hammering away at President Bush on the economy.
Think of it. We could have 4 more years of trickle-down economics. 4 more years where you work a longer work week for lower wages.
Another one of Clinton's main themes in these final days will be that President Bush has lied about Clinton's record and that he'll say or do or promise anything in a desperate attempt to hold on to his job. It's a sharp counterattack on the same trust issue that President Bush has used so effectively against Clinton. Mike?
Still, it's the mark of a candidate who almost senses that something was eroding or eking away. Was the Clinton campaign that worried that things were starting to get away from them here?
I think they believe that the attacks on the character and trust issue the president was mounting out on the stump and also in his radio and television campaigns were beginning to take a toll on him, and that appears to be the case in the polls that shows that Bill Clinton's negative ratings have been going up steadily over the last couple of weeks.
Okay, Ron, thanks very much. ABC's Ron Claiborne. Good to have you in off the road for a couple of minutes. By the way, Bill Clinton will be the guest in the second hour of Good Morning America this morning. Charlie Gibson will have breakfast with a candidate at a diner in New Jersey and hold a town meeting with other people who happen to be dining there on this Friday morning. As for where the polls put the candidates this morning, as Ron was alluding to, we have the latest ABC News tracking poll. It now has Clinton 9 points ahead of Bush. Support for Ross Perot, as you can see in this poll, has slipped a little bit to 16 points. Now, 2 other polls have the race in just about a virtual dead heat between Bush and Clinton. The poll done by NBC and the Wall Street Journal has a 5-point difference between the 2 candidates. That is equal to the poll's margin of error. And there is a 3-point difference now between Clinton and Bush in the poll from CNN and USA Today. That also indicates that poll, according to that poll, the race could be something of a toss-up right now. Ross Perot made only one public appearance yesterday. It was on CNN's Larry King Live program. He repeated his charges that the Republican Party planned dirty tricks against him, and he said he is confident about the outcome of Tuesday's vote. More now from ABC's Linda Patillo.
Even as the polls showed his support fading, Ross Perot predicted victory in his only appearance of the day, a television talk show.
We're in a 2-minute drill now, to use football analogies. 2-minute drill. We're going for it. And just when you wake up Wednesday morning, I think you're going to say, well, I'll be darned.
But an ABC News poll shows Perot's support among likely voters dropped from 21 to 20 to 16% from Monday through Wednesday of this week. One possible reason, a dramatic increase in public doubt about Perot. Voters in the poll were asked, do you think Perot has the kind of personality and temperament it takes to serve effectively as president or not? Only 32% said yes, an 8-point drop from Sunday, the day Perot began accusing the Republicans of dirty tricks. Last night, Perot dismissed the polls and President Bush.
Here are the facts. He's history. And the good people who are voting for him, the people who are voting for him are throwing their votes away.
With only 4 days of campaigning left, Perot has no public appearances scheduled for today. Aides say he's been spending all of his time in the studio taping commercials. Linda Patillo, ABC News, Dallas.
Some of Ross Perot's former volunteers held a press conference yesterday, and they said that their candidate, Ross Perot, had betrayed them by ordering credit checks on them without their permission. Some also said they were victims of a smear campaign and high-handed tactics by Perot's operatives in Dallas. Perot's spokeswoman in Dallas says the campaign never authorized any illegal credit checks and will cooperate with all investigators. We'll take a break right now, come back in a couple of moments, look at today's sports, and have the weather forecast as well.
50 years ago today at El Alamein, German counterattacks on Allied positions were repulsed, while Allied planes continued assaulting the enemy.
Excuse me, do you know what stock options are?
I wish I did.
When is the weak dollar good for business?
Good?
I don't know. The world of finance and investing can be pretty confusing unless you call for this, the Wall Street Journal's video guide to money and markets. It explains the markets in clear, simple English and brings them to life. This exclusive 30-minute video is free when you call for 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal for just $37, over 20% off the newsstand price. Subscribe to the Journal and get a daily view of the whole world of business and how it affects you. Information you know you should know. Call now and you'll be ready next time someone asks you, Are munis always a safe investment?
I'm not sure.
Call toll-free 800-228-1600 for 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and your free video on money and markets. That's 800-228-1600.
No one has to tell you that doing business today is more challenging than ever. But all over the world, one company is helping you meet those challenges head on, no matter what it takes. New challenges, new thinking.
I shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches.
Now there's Scalpicin for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. It's clear liquid, not shampoo. With itch medicine doctors chose over these dandruff shampoo formulas.
The itch is gone.
Scalpicin.
Now there are dress shoes with the cushioning of athletic shoes. Easy Spirit pumps, now in sleek new styles and colors for fall. Easy Spirit. Looks like a pump, feels like a sneaker.
On the next Good Morning America, our conversations with the candidates continue.
A live interview with Governor Bill Clinton, his thoughts on the last stretch of Campaign 92 on Good Morning America.
It's Friday. It is October the 30th, and it is 39 and a half minutes past the hour. It also happens to be time for sports, as somebody finally beat the best team in hockey. John Snyder's to tell us who right now, John.
Mike, the St. Louis Blues last night had the biggest win of the young hockey season, beating a team that had yet to lose, the defending Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins 6-4. Mario Lemieux continued his great play for Pittsburgh, scoring 2 goals. Lemieux has 36 total points in just 11 games, by far the top figure in the league. Brett Hall, one of the top scorers in the league, had only 3 goals coming into the game, but he did have one of the St. Louis goals last night. Pittsburgh still has the game's best record at 8-2-1. St. Louis is 4-6-1. After the big win by his team, St. Louis coach Bob Plager, in his first year on the job, resigned, saying he wanted to return to the front office. Bob Berry, who has coached 3 NHL teams, will take over as the St. Louis coach. Quebec beat the New York Rangers, Philadelphia and Chicago in a tie, Boston 8-3 over Los Angeles. In baseball, Major League owners seem ready to approve the sale of the San Francisco Giants to a San Francisco group, keeping the team in the Bay Area. But baseball may face a massive lawsuit from a Tampa St. Petersburg group, which thought it had a deal to buy the Giants and move them to Florida. The professional golf season will officially end this weekend. The season-ending Tour Championship, with the top 30 money winners involved, has started in North Carolina. At the famed Pinehurst course, Davis Love III, with a great shot out of the bunker here, is one of 4 men who has won $1 million so far this year. He's one of the co-leaders, 3 under par, along with Keith Clearwater. $2 million is up for grabs in that tournament. For those looking for omens about the election next Tuesday, you should know that Bill Clinton has already won a race this week.
Here comes Bill Clinton. They got a 16th to go and smashing Bush is leading it. Here comes Bubba Clinton, and that's the poll. It's Bubba Clinton to take the election of the 3rd in 158.
That race was Wednesday night at a New Jersey track. Here's a man who's always been a front runner, Spencer. He has the weather.
Yeah, but after a hard race, I always feel bushed. Let's go to the maps and take a look at what's going on around the nation today. It's going to be a cool day in the northern 2/3 of the country, highs reaching generally into the 40s, some 30s up over the extreme northeast and the Great Lakes, and way down in southern Texas, highs still holding at the 80-degree mark. The outlook calls for mostly sunny skies through the nation's midsection, up and down the plains, and into the extreme southwest. Also in the extreme northeast, mostly sunny, but it'll be a soggy day over much of the mid-Atlantic and the southeast. And up in the northwest, a stormy day with strong, powerful winds, heavy snow in the higher elevations of the Cascades, the Siskiyous, the Sierra Nevada mountain range, the Bitterroots, rainfall in the lower elevations. Some of the rainfall could be heavy at times, and all that stormy weather is going to slide southeastward over the weekend, right into the nation's midsection. That's a look at the national weather picture. Here's a look at the weather where you are.
Happy Friday morning, everyone. Rick Mitchell here. Well, today's weather doesn't look much different than what we've been having. Let's call it a mixture of clouds and sunshine, a high of 48, maybe some late-day sprinkles. Unfortunately, a good chance for rain on Halloween.
And we'll have more on today's weather coming up a little bit later. Mike?
All right, seems like an appropriate time to stop down now, gather all our notes together, see where we're going, and continue. Please stay with us.
And here's a word from the weather. Bitterroots, where are they? For Monday.
There's a tropical island that's not on any map.
though it's easy to find. It's warmed by the sun and caressed by the winds, with its own hidden treasures, local delicacies, and exotic festivals. But this island moves. It's a Carnival cruise ship. So if you go, get there on time and get out your Visa card, because the world's most popular cruise line doesn't stay in one place for long, and it doesn't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
With steadfast stares, the people cry, bright future to new worlds. Time that goes by, the touch, the feel, the fabric of our lives, the touch, the feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives.
Now, all over the world, the sisters and mothers and best friends waiting to hear from you can hear from you for a lot less. Introducing the AT&T Special Country Plan. Save 15%. It's easy. There's no monthly fee. Just call right now and tell us your one special international country and start saving to everyone in it every hour of every day. We'll always be there to make calling more affordable.
September 1957. Road and track on the Volvo 444. With a car like this, who needs a sports car? October 1992. History repeats itself.
It's Friday, October 30th, 1992. World News This Morning continues with Mike Schneider.
And a good morning to you once again. For those of you just getting up and joining us, our top stories on this Friday morning. President Bush calls his opponents two bozos, and he claims that his dog Millie knows more about foreign policy than they do. The presidential campaign now heads into the last weekend before Election Day. You'll be electing your congresspeople too, of course. Bill Clinton says President Bush will say or promise anything to try to win re-election. Clinton promises to make an AIDS czar a priority for his administration, a person who'd be coordinating all federal efforts against AIDS. Ross Perot says President Bush can't win on Tuesday, but he can. Perot has scheduled 4 campaign rallies between now and Election Day. The candidates will be covering as much ground as they can between now and Tuesday, and what they can't cover themselves, their surrogates will try to cover for them. For many Americans, the surrogates are the next best thing and the closest that they will actually be able to get to the candidate himself. ABC's Mike Von Frem reports.
The Democratic National Committee has helped equip Jesse Jackson with all the tools to crisscross the country signing up new voters. His rallies focus less on what's right with Bill Clinton than on what's wrong with George Bush.
Bush said, trust, trust, trust. He knew nothing about the Iraq-gate, Iran-Contra. It's our public now.
And in battleground states such as Texas, Jackson's influence is not to be underestimated.
Jesse Jackson is the reason why I'm here, and Jesse Jackson is the reason why I'm voting for Bill Clinton.
Surrogates are often a big draw with the local press. And though they may be risky to campaign with shoulder to shoulder, they nevertheless can raise precious dollars for the cause.
We can get Bill Clinton and charge everyone $1,000. Someone said, why don't we get Al Gore for $750? Well, you got me for $125, so you better care about it.
Some of the top Republican surrogates travel as a pack. 3 cabinet members and a senior Republican senator have made a marathon march on this day from Florida through Louisiana, defending the president.
I've been out on the road for 2 weeks solid. Probably 12 states, 12 states in these last days.
The most important role of the surrogate is to savage the opposition with attacks that would be unseemly coming from the candidate.
I want a president who has fought to protect America in both war and peace, not a male version of Jane Fonda.
In a way, the surrogates are sort of shadow warriors, doing the dirty work, rarely in the national spotlight. But in a tight race, they could make the difference. Mike Von Frem, ABC News.
Some other news now on this Friday morning. Countries that are contributing aid to the former Soviet republics have agreed now to put the World Bank in charge of organizing that help. Representatives of about 70 countries and 20 international organizations have wound up a two-day meeting in Tokyo. Japan and the United States each pledged $100 million in new food and medical aid to help the republics make it through the winter. Russia's President Boris Yeltsin has suspended the withdrawal of his troops from the Baltic states. Yeltsin says he will not keep his agreement with Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia unless they end what he calls discrimination against their Russian minorities. But he's risking some U.S. aid in the process. Half of the American aid to Russia is conditioned on the withdrawal of Russian troops from the Baltics. Last week, Russia's defense ministry said the withdrawal might be suspended because of what it called a lack of housing for the troops who are coming back home. Former State Department official Alger Hiss says his name has been cleared by a Russian general. Hiss was accused of spying for the Soviets back in 1948. He was never convicted of espionage, but he was charged with perjury for denying the allegations. Now that Russian general says he has found nothing in the Soviet military archives to show that Hiss ever gave American secrets to the Soviet Union. Hiss is now 87 years old. He says he always felt that he would ultimately be cleared. We will take a break and be back with more news in a moment.
Who was America's first presidential candidate to lose an election? The answer next.
At BASF, we don't make the meal, we make it healthier. We don't make the lotion, we make it smoother. We don't make the dress, we make it brighter. We don't make the carpet, we make it tougher. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
If you hold your nose, you can't really taste things because your sense of smell is so important to taste. That's why great aroma is so important to Folgers. Here, smell for yourself. Come on, it's new TV technology. You smell that? They use aroma-roasted mountain-grown beans, then they specially grind them. No wonder people like Folgers better than this other coffee. No contest.
Folgers, aroma so rich, you can taste it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Just how many noodles did we put into Campbell's new double noodle soup?
101, 102, 103, 100.
Let's put it this way.
321, 322, 323.
Any more noodles, and we couldn't call it soup. Campbell's new double noodle soup. Twice the noodles, twice the satisfaction.
Even with the best products, something goes wrong once in a while. Now, while that might be okay at some companies, it's not at Motorola Cellular. Motorola sets their standards a lot higher. And just how high are they? Well, for me to hit that level of consistency, I'd have to go 30 years without missing a single putt.
Motorola, setting standards of quality the whole world can shoot for.
Back once again, General Motors lost less money than it said it would in the second quarter of the year, but it still was a large and rather bitter pill to swallow anyway. ABC's Stephen Ogg has more on that now and the rest of our domestic business report. Stephen?
Thanks, Mike. Good morning. General Motors, the world's biggest automobile maker, says it lost nearly $753 million during the summer, virtually all the loss coming from North America. GM's still making money overseas. GM is the last of the big three to report third quarter results. Ford lost $159 million. They made money in North America because they spent years slimming down and cutting costs, which GM has yet to do. Ford, though, is losing money overseas. Ironically, Chrysler was the only one of the big three to report a profit. A year ago, Chrysler was fighting for its very existence. And a couple of interesting reports. The Economic Policy Institute, a Washington think tank, says 0.5% of the richest families in America got 55% of the total increase in household wealth between 1983 and 89. It says as the rich got richer, the concentration of wealth in 1989 was more extreme than any time since 1929. Meanwhile, the Employee Benefit Research Institute, a trade association, says more than 36 million non-elderly Americans, about 16.6% of the population, have neither private nor public health insurance, and that figure's been rising by about 1 million a year. And a forecast. Economists at McGraw-Hill's Construction Information Group say total contracting for new construction in this country should grow by about 8% next year to more than $267 billion. And their forecasting's not bad. Last year, they forecast that construction this year would total $251.5 billion. The actual total, $247.6 billion. Most of next year's business will be single-family housing and public works, like highways, roads, and bridges. On Wall Street, some disappointing earnings reports helped send blue chip stocks lower yesterday. The Dow fell about 5 points in heavy trading. The broader market was mostly higher. The New York Stock Exchange Composite Index was up 0.5 point. The Standard & Poor's 500 gained about 0.75 points. Over the counter, the NASDAQ Composite Index rose about 4.5 points, and trading was heavy. On the American Exchange, the Market Value Index was up about 2.25 points, and trading was also heavy. And long-term interest rates are lower. 30-year Treasury bonds now at 7.58%. Short-term yields are higher. 1-year Treasury bills, the basis for many adjustable-rate mortgages, now at 3.45%. And creditors, unions, and the government's Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation have reached agreement that clears the way for Trans World Airlines to come out of bankruptcy. Under the agreement, TWA's pension plan, which has only about half the money it needs, will be terminated before the company's reorganized. At that point, the pension agency will pursue the airline's current owner, Carl Icahn, and try to collect as much of the pension plan's $1.2 billion shortfall as it can from him and his other companies. No doubt hoping Icahn will not say, "I can't." That's the economy this morning. Mike?
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. Time right now to check the overseas markets as we close out the week. We go to Japan first of all. Down once again, the Tokyo stocks ending the week with another loss. The Nikkei index dropped 170 points today. In London, stocks are up nearly 15 points in the early trading. How's the dollar doing? Well, the dollar is weaker against the other main currencies. As we check the London exchanges, we find the dollar is down against the Japanese yen, the German mark. It is down against the French franc, and it is also down against the British pound. We'll be back with more news in a moment.
The first presidential candidate to be defeated was Thomas Jefferson, lost to John Adams.
2 coffees and a sweet and low.
And now what? They want a coffee and a sweet and a low. They're never gonna leave. I fix it.
Oh, Salamia.
We asked for sweet and low.
I'm so sorry. This is all we got.
Well, then we're leaving.
So soon.
Sweet and low. For millions of people, there's just no equal. All-natural Butter Bud Sprinkles and Mix from the makers of Sweet and Low. It has the flavor of butter because it's made with butter. But every serving has no fat, no cholesterol, and low sodium. So you can enjoy all these dishes and find a new use for this one.
Something new. Color tiles fall up to 50% off Blockbuster. DuPont Stainmaster Carpet. The wax vinyl tile. Wood flooring up to 50% off. Color tiles Blockbuster final week. Hurry, sale ends Tuesday.
America's love affair with the automobile shifts into high gear starting now with the new GM MasterCard. Every time you use it, GM will credit 5% of your purchase toward a new car or truck from GM. 5%. That could mean hundreds, even thousands of dollars in savings over and above any other discounts or rebates. And there's no annual fee. The GM card, the new financial vehicle.
This man's incredibly close, comfortable shave comes from the Norelco razor. But to see how he got it, we must go back to when he began shaving, not just above the skin, but below it. Here, our lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can drop below skin level without the blades touching your face. Try it, and you'll keep going back to Norelco for a perfect shave. Norelco, we make close, comfortable.
This is a Channel 5 News Update.
Good morning, everyone. It's 6:57 right now. I'm Renee Starzik.
I'm Rick Mitchell. Good morning. We have a rather tranquil morning. Nothing much going on in the weather. In central Iowa right now, just partly cloudy, 35 degrees in Des Moines, 34 in Ames. The winds are from the northeast today, and that does produce a wind chill of 25 degrees in the metro, so a little bit chilly. 82% humidity, and the pressure is holding steady, 30.05 inches of mercury. The 5cast for today, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, maybe some late-day sprinkles, a high of 48, a better chance for rain off to the south. For tonight, cloudy with a chance of rain moving into central Iowa, a low of 39, and tomorrow, a good chance of rain and a high of 51. The rainy weather pattern looks as if it will be with us right through the weekend.
Not the best night to trick or treat.
Not really.
All right, thanks, Rick. Coming up, many joined together last night to fight domestic abuse and take back the night. We'll explain right after this.
Why is Jim Ross Lightfoot trying to distort Elaine Baxter's record?
Lightfoot supported millions in foreign aid while voting to cut millions for Iowa public schools. He voted against requiring corporations to tell us about toxic wastes in our own communities. Elaine Baxter voted to strengthen Iowa schools and help create thousands of new Iowa jobs through export promotion. And Elaine Baxter supports our right to know about toxics. Elaine Baxter, the choice is clear.
In the news this morning, they gathered all across the state last night, victims of domestic abuse, trying to shed light on the problem. Here in Des Moines, a candlelight vigil to remember those who lost their lives and to strengthen those who've survived the trauma of abuse. Iowa's Attorney General says she's working to make the problem of domestic violence a national issue and also toughen up the laws against abusers. A Minnesota man is facing 2 counts of premeditated murder this morning. A grand jury yesterday handed up 2 indictments against Russell Lund Jr. Lund's accused of killing his estranged wife and her boyfriend, former Iowa lawmaker Kevin Kelly. Their bodies were found shot to death in Lund's Minnesota home back in August. Authorities say the 2 were shot after Lund invited his wife over to discuss a divorce settlement. Lund's trial date has not yet been set. With just 4 days before the presidential elections, a University of Iowa poll shows 44% of voters back Democrat Bill Clinton, while 35% favor President Bush. Independent Ross Perot tallied up 21%. The poll was conducted in the 7 states that make up the Midwest. National polls show Clinton's lead ranging anywhere from 3 to 9%. Well, that's the news this hour. We're back at 7:25 with another update.
Until then, have a good morning, and Good Morning America is coming up next. Clouds mixed with sunshine today, maybe some late-day sprinkles as well.
Good morning, America. I'm Joan Lennon. It is Friday, October 30th.